It has been more than 500 days since the assault on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Now the House Select Committee investigating the attack will finally be able to shed some light on what might have transpired that day. CBS News Chief Election and Campaign Correspondent Robert Costa has a preview of Thursday's highly anticipated public hearings.
Thursday's primetime hearing will take Americans back to January 6th, when an estimated 2,000 rioters breached the Capitol building, causing the deaths of 5 police officers.
Will this committee break through?
I certainly think so. I think that the depth, the breadth, the severity of this attempt to undermine our government, I think that it will break through.
Republicans, including House Leader Kevin McCarthy, have been sharply critical of the panel, calling it overtly partisan.
Look, the committee is not a legitimate committee.
But in exclusive audio obtained by CBS News from the authors of This Will Not Pass, McCarthy, in a private GOP meeting just days after the attack, spoke of the need for accountability.
We cannot just sweep this under the rug. We need to know why it happened, who did it, and people need to be held accountable for it. And I'm committed to make sure that happens.
Many in the GOP, including McCarthy, have continued to publicly defend former President Trump.
We will never give up.
Despite his actions that day.
Do any of you on stage still have any concerns about how the former president acted that day, January 6, 2021?
No. In another audio excerpt released to CBS, McCarthy, who has refused to testify before the committee, can be heard telling his colleagues about a frantic call for help to the president on January 6th.
When they started breaking into my office, myself and the staff got removed from the office. In doing so, I made a phone call to the president, telling him what was going on, asking him to tell these people to stop, to make a video and go out. And I was very intense and very loud about it.
Robert Costa joins us. Robert, good to see you. So former Republican Congressman Denver Riggleman, a former advisor to the Select Committee, says that the public hearings will be, quote, absolutely exciting for people to see. Why does he think that? And what can we expect from Thursday's hearings?
Exciting is his characterization of what's to come. What's certain here on Capitol Hill is that these hearings are important. They will be a mirror up to what happened in American democracy in January of 2021. The lingering question for the committee is what will it bring forward that we have not yet seen in terms of video footage, images, but also testimony from witnesses, more than 1,000 it has interviewed over the past year.
Yeah, and Robert, what is the significance of holding these hearings in prime time?
It's highly significant because the committee is trying to build an audience for its findings, to try to remind the American people about what happened on January 6th, to not make it a passive experience, something that they maybe read about in the newspaper or watch on an evening newscast or on a streaming channel. What they want to do is jolt the American people to remember January 6th in a new way and to rethink the story as something beyond an attack, but also a legal and political crusade spearheaded by then-President Trump to overturn the 2020 election. Whether they can do so in a way that really connects with people who are so far undecided on January 6th remains to be seen.
You know, on that front, Liz Cheney is one of 2 Republican House members on the panel. Robert, tell us what her role will be during the public hearing phase.
I spoke with Congresswoman Cheney of Wyoming in recent days for CBS Sunday Morning. She's a Republican, but she also said what she has found, along with her colleagues on the committee, is what she believes was a conspiracy to overturn the election led by some Republicans on Capitol Hill, her colleagues, and by former President Trump while he was in the White House. She's important in these proceedings because she provides to the committee a Republican voice who's not just another Republican, a rank-and-file member, but someone who's a former member of Republican leadership who comes from a family in GOP politics that counts a vice president, former Vice President Dick Cheney, in its history.
Yeah. Let's talk about witnesses, Robert. Caroline Edwards, a Capitol Police officer who was injured in the riot, and Nick Quested, a documentary filmmaker who was embedded at the time with the far-right Proud Boys, will be among the first to testify on Thursday. Who else might we hear from later this month, and what should we expect?
during the Watergate hearings nearly 50 years ago in 1973, there were some unknown figures who emerged as key critical witnesses. Think about Alexander Butterfield, who revealed the Nixon tapes. This time around, nearly 5 decades on, I'm also watching who are the unknown figures who emerge in the January 6 hearings, who can provide new information, shine a light on what was happening inside the Trump White House, the West Wing, during those final days of the Trump administration. One person to pay attention to in the coming weeks is Cassidy Hutchison, a name most people haven't heard. She was an aide to Mark Meadows, then the White House chief of staff. She has cooperated with the committee extensively, and our CBS News team has confirmed that she will likely testify publicly for the committee.
All right, Robert, thank you.
Thank you.